Welcome to the National Religious Relationships Committee of the Boy Scouts of America's Virtual Faith Walk. My name is Amanda Vogt, and today we are being joined by Father Donald Hummel, a member of the National Catholic Committee on Scouting, and a familiar face to those of you who have attended Philmont to learn more about how the Catholic Church serves as a partner of the Boy Scouts of America. We invite you to gather your family, unit, or congregation together as we join Father Hummel for this video. Afterwards, have a discussion on what you learned. Feel free to take a walk and enjoy the outdoors while having your discussion as you join others from around the country on this virtual faith walk. Thank you for joining us, Father. I know you have a long history with Scouting. Would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
My name is Father Donald Hummel, and I'm a chaplain at a largest Catholic high school, largest private high school in the state of New Jersey right now. And I've been with the Scouting in the Catholic Church is what we're talking about a little bit here, but I've been a priest for 40 years. This is actually tomorrow, officially, and I've been with the Scouting program for 60 years. Scouting is one of the main reasons that I'm a priest 40 years. It was my experiences in Scouting in the out of doors, the people that I met, some of the priest chaplains that I met, some of the other chaplains for other faith groups that I met, all contributed to my considering that maybe God was calling me to, in fact, serve as a priest. And it's worked out for 40 years, so I guess I'll keep going.
How long has the Catholic faith been a charter partner with the Boy Scouts of America? And do you have any religious emblems or educational programs for Catholic youth within Scouting?
Well, we've been a chartered partner almost from the beginning of the Boy Scouts of America. Our programs that the Catholic Committee on Scouting actually offers, we have a whole range of emblems which really reinforce and complement religious education programs in parishes and schools. So they really dovetail very nicely, and really one helps the other. Sometimes we are more successful than some of the parish or school people because we also have the scouting aspect of what we're about, the duty to God. And sometimes it brings people closer to their understanding and their relationship with God, because that's what faith is. Faith is a relationship with God, and it may take many forms, and a lot of us respond and know God in different ways. But the beauty is that we can discover a lot more in some cases with young folks, boys and girls, how that might really work out, not just today, but for the rest of their lives, and hopefully into the next. People don't always understand this, particularly who aren't Catholic. All Catholics are not Roman Catholics. We have Eastern Catholic churches. A lot of times from the Holy Land area and other countries around the world. They're Catholic, they're not Protestant, they're not Episcopal, they're not Orthodox, but their liturgy and their governance, and in fact their whole liturgy is very different than ours, than the Roman Church. But we have special religious emblem for them as well.
Many Scout units seem to be a mixture of different faith groups. Does this hold true for units that are chartered to the local Catholic Church?
Oh yes, even when going back to the ancient history, when I was a kid in the 50s and 60s, in our troop, which was sponsored by a Catholic parish, we had kids in our troop at that point, going back to those days, that weren't Catholic. We even had, the story I love to tell is that we had the kid's Barry Schwartz, and he was obviously Jewish. And we used to close our meetings with the Lord's Prayer. So what the committee did, which was about half Catholic and half Protestant, but nobody Jewish on our committee, they talked to Barry's parents and said, this is what we do. Do you have any problem with that? They said, oh, no, that's fine. That's a nice prayer. We like that prayer. That's fine. So he was part of that and part of us part of the troop for a number of years. So.
Does the Catholic faith have a central resource point for helping units, councils, etc.?
We're talking about the National Catholic Committee on Scouting. You can go online and Google us, like you can just about everything else in the world today. However, they will probably, other than some of the programs that are available, they would refer you back to the local diocese or archdiocese, because every diocese, to a greater or lesser extent, has a committee, a Catholic Committee on Scouting at that level. Sometimes they may be under the education department, sometimes they may be under youth ministries. Every diocese is structured a little bit differently. To be honest, some committees are probably a little more active than others. But that's where they probably want to start, because again, it's on the local level. And if they don't, in fact, make a good connection there, then they can get in touch with somebody, go back up the ladder, and we can maybe make another local connection.
What would you say to parents or a local parish about why they should get their children involved in
As you
scouting?
consider involving your children with the scouting program, you want to remember that we're not, while the outdoor program is a very important part of what we're about, earning merit badges, even helping little old ladies across the street, that's really not what the aims and goals are about. We're really about character development and leadership and basically raising young folks and making them to responsible adults. So the scouting program can do that in general. The beauty of sort of the icing on the cake is the religious committees, the various faith groups, reinforcing the kind of values you want for your kids to grow up with. That's very important. And character development and citizenship and fitness, personal fitness, physical fitness, all those goals and aims, the ideals of what scouting is about, are reinforced and are certainly valuable to us, any of us, involved in any of the religious faith group committees. And so, again, it's a complementary kind of relationship. I've always felt, people say to me, well, how many Catholic kids are in scouting? There's no way of us knowing that because they're in units that are sponsored by Catholic schools or churches or CYOs or Knights of Columbus councils, but they're also in troops that are sponsored by the Methodist Church, by the Lions, by the Rotary Club. And conversely, we have non-Catholic kids in our troops. And we obviously encourage folks in a lot of ways to do the religious emblems of their various faith groups. And that's a very important piece of it. I've always felt and tried to encourage Catholic institutions to be a chartered partner with us, because who better is going to take care of the needs of our kids and really reflect the kind of values we want for our kids. That's the whole purpose of all we've gone through in these last 20 years or so with membership standards, being able to maintain, and you as a parent are very concerned about wanting your child to have the kind of values you want them to have. Your church or other institution is going to select the leadership to make sure those values are delivered appropriately the way you want them to be. When I was pastor of a fairly large parish in New Jersey, the parents expected that of me. Most of my leaders were parents, but some of them, like me, I was never a parent, but I was an assistant scoutmaster when I came home from college before I went in the seminary. Now the parish knew me, but all the parents didn't know me. But it was the pastor's job, the institution's job, to make sure, and they have that right. People have heard a lot of different things, a lot of misinformation about what's going on with all the membership standards changes. Any institution that is a charter partner with us has a right to select and a responsibility to select leaders that reflect the values of that institution. The scouting program, the Boy Scouts of America, have continued to evolve and to meet those needs while maintaining that very almost sacred, if you will, chartered partner relationship, which is one thing that really is significant and unique about us. So we can maintain the kind of values you want for your kids, and the kind of values that our leaders are going to reflect back to them. By the way, while you're considering bringing your kids into scouting, you may want to consider getting involved in some leadership roles yourself. And we will give you all the training you need.
Very true. Well, thank you for joining us, Father Hummel, and talking about some of the topics relating to scouting and the Catholic faith within our virtual faith walk. Don't forget to have a discussion about what you learned with your family, unit, or congregation. Here are some great questions to get you started. How can scouting partner with the local Catholic parishes in our community in order to strengthen relationships within the next generation of youth and young adults? How can our unit or congregation work with the Catholic faith for religious services, emblems, service projects, and more? How does the Catholic faith compare to your own faith? We will see you next time as we continue our virtual faith walk through some of the many faiths represented throughout the Boy Scouts of America. Remember, the Scout oath starts with your duty to God, and the Scout law ends with the Scout is reverent.